Daily Poem here on the Close Reads Podcast Network. I'm David Kern. Today's poem is by William Wordsworth, and I figured that since we've been reading a few, dark poems over the last few weeks, let's do something a little more pleasant. So let's read William Wordsworth's, arguably his most famous poem, called I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud, also commonly known as Daffodils. It's a lyric poem which was inspired by an event in April of 1802 in which Wordsworth came across, a bunch of daffodils. It was written between 1804 and 1807 and first published in 1807 in Poems in 2 volumes, and a revised version was published in 1815. So here it is. I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud by William Wordsworth. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth that show to me had brought. For oft, when on my couch I lie in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. One of the reasons this poem is so popular, I think, is because of the sort of resolution it offers within its problem. It opens with somebody walking lonely, right? I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high or vales and hills. So like a cloud that's distant, right? It's up there all alone, far away, nothing can reach it. It's not a part of all the things that it sees below and the things that it probably longs to be a part of. And so it sees the golden daffodils, right? But then by the end, of course, his heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. And of course, the sort of sing-song tempo of this poem mirrors the dancing that the daffodils are doing and that the poet is doing along with them. The waves as well. The waves in the bay. There's some things out there you can read about Wordsworth saw. You can go to the place in the lake country in England, and you can go visit the lake where he saw these daffodils. He was walking with his sister Dorothy. But there is some sense that perhaps he was having some kind of, I think they would call it an ocular sensation, like the way the light played. He probably saw something more than what was actually there. But that doesn't change the fact that the imaginative image of all of these daffodils lining the bay, welcoming him. And I love that concept of the daffodils lining the bay, like as if his ship is coming in, and on the shore they're welcoming that traveler to the shore. And he says at the time, I didn't really think much of it, right? I mean, I thought this is lovely, but I didn't realize what wealth the show to me had brought. But when he's by himself, when he's lonely again, when he's sitting pensively, what flashes on his inward eye, and his heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. So I love the sort of simple structure, the problem with the resolution. And in a sense, it is simple, right? It's simple and pleasant. And that's one of the reasons why I think children like this poem. But it's formally really rich as well. And I think that that's one of the reasons why it's really worth memorizing and worth reading and rereading, and why it's lasted so long. So one more time, I wandered lonely as a cloud. Wordsworth. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft, when on my couch I lie in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. This has been the Daily Poem. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow with another one.